your philodendron is trying to tell you something. And most beginners never learn to listen until the leaves have already turned yellow and dropped to the floor. If you have ever stared at a wilting vine, wondering what you did wrong, you are about to discover that philodendron care is not complicated at all once you understand what this plant actually wants. It just wants a little bit of the right light, the right rhythm of water, and a little patience while it settles in. That is it. And by the end of this, you will know exactly how to give it all three. Philodendrons have become one of the most beloved houseplants across American homes, and it is not hard to see why. They are forgiving, they grow quickly once they are happy, and their heart-shaped or split leaves bring an instant sense of jungle calm to any room. Whether you have the classic heartleaf philodendron trailing from a shelf, a upright philodendron psalm spreading its dramatic leaves across a living room corner, or a rare pink princess catching the afternoon light, the underlying care rules stay remarkably consistent. Learn them once, and you can grow almost any variety in this enormous family with confidence. Part of what makes the plant family so appealing is just how many looks you can choose from, while sticking to the exact same care routine. Vining types like the heartleaf philodendron, or the Brazil, with its bright yellow-green leaf splash, are perfect for hanging baskets or trailing down a bookshelf, and they can also be trained upward along a moss pole to climb the way they naturally would in the wild, which often triggers larger, more mature leaves as the plant matures. Non-climbing, self-heading varieties like the philodendron psalm or the Xanadu form a dense, architectural clump of deeply lobed leaves and work beautifully as a floor plant in a bright corner. Whichever shape catches your eye, the plant underneath is asking for the same light, water, and feeding routine, so once you have the fundamentals down, you are equipped to grow almost any philodendron you bring home in the future. Let's start with light, because this is where most new plant parents go wrong, in one of two opposite directions. Some people assume that because philodendrons come from tropical rainforests, they need dim, shady corners like something out of a fern grotto. Others assume more light is always better, and place their plant directly in a sunny window, only to watch the leaves scorch and develop crispy brown patches. The truth sits comfortably in the middle. In their native habitat, philodendrons grow beneath a forest canopy, climbing tree trunks and receiving bright, filtered sunlight that has been softened by layers of leaves overhead. That is exactly what you want to recreate indoors. Bright, indirect light is the sweet spot. A spot a few feet back from an east or south-facing window, or right beside a west-facing window with a sheer curtain, tends to work beautifully. If your plant's new leaves are coming in smaller than the old ones, or the stems are stretching out with long gaps between leaves, reaching desperately toward a light source, that is your plant's asking for a brighter spot. On the other hand, bleached, pale, or scorched patches on the leaves usually mean it is getting too much direct sun and needs to move back just a little. Temperature follows the same tropical logic. Philodendrons are happiest anywhere between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which conveniently mirrors the temperature most of us keep our homes at anyway. They are not fans of sudden swings, so keep them away from drafty windows in winter and away from heating vents or air conditioning units that blast directly onto the leaves. A consistent, comfortable room temperature with decent humidity is really all it takes. If your home tends to run dry, especially during winter heating season, a small humidifier nearby or a pebble tray filled with water beneath the pot can make a noticeable difference in leaf size and shine. Grouping plants also raises the humidity around them through a process of shared transpiration. So, if you already have a small plant collection growing, your philodendron benefits simply by being part of that community. Now here is where things get genuinely interesting, because the benefits of keeping a philodendron in your home go far beyond decoration. Researchers at NASA conducted a landmark clean air study back in the late 1980s, examining how common houseplants filter airborne toxins like formaldehyde, benzene, and trichloroethylene, chemicals that off gas from furniture, paint, and household products. Philodendrons were among the species tested and showed a meaningful capacity to absorb and break down these compounds through their leaves and root systems, while later research has debated exactly how much a single houseplant can purify an entire room compared to simple ventilation. The presence of green, living plants indoors has been consistently linked in multiple university studies to measurable improvements in perceived air quality and occupant comfort. The story does not stop with air chemistry either. A growing body of psychological research under the umbrella of biophilia, the idea that humans have an innate need to connect with nature, has found that simply having living plants within view can lower cortisol levels, the hormone most associated with stress. A widely cited study out of Japan found that interacting with indoor plants, even something as simple as repotting one, reduced both physiological and psychological stress markers compared to working on a computer task, with participants showing lower blood pressure and a calmer, more comfortable state of mind afterward. Other research from university hospital settings has found that patients recovering in rooms with plants reported lower pain levels and used fewer pain medications than those in plantless rooms. None of this means a philodendron is medicine, but it does mean that the simple, quiet act of caring for a living thing on your windowsill has a real, measurable effect on how your nervous system responds to your environment. Every time you check on your plant, notice a new leaf unfurling, or wipe dust from its foliage, you are engaging in a small ritual that researchers now associate with improved focus and reduced anxiety. Workplace studies out of Australia and the Netherlands have added another layer to this picture, finding that offices and study spaces containing live foliage plants were associated with higher reported concentration, greater perceived productivity, and lower fatigue among occupants compared to plant-free spaces. Researchers point to a combination of factors behind this, including the gentle visual break green foliage offers tired eyes, the subtle increase in humidity plants release through their leaves, and the psychological fuss of having something living and growing nearby. None of this requires a jungle's worth of plants either. Even a single healthy philodendron on a desk or windowsill appears to contribute to these benefits, which is a big part of why this particular plant has become such a fixture in homes and workspaces across the country. Let's move to watering, because this is genuinely the single most common place beginners run into trouble, and it usually happens for one simple reason: watering on a fixed calendar schedule. Instead of checking the actual soil, philodendrons want their soil to dry out partially between waterings, not completely bone dry, and definitely not kept constantly soggy. The easiest way to know when it is time is to stick your finger about 1 to 2 inches into the soil. If it feels dry at that depth, it is time to water. If it still feels cool and moist, wait a few more days and check again. When you do water, water thoroughly until it runs freely from the drainage holes at the bottom of the pot. Then let the pot drain completely, and never let it sit in a saucer full of standing water. This thorough soak and drain approach encourages roots to grow strong and reach downward and outward searching for moisture, which builds a healthier root system than frequent shallow sips ever could. Overwatering is by far the more common killer of philodendrons compared to underwatering, because soggy soils starves roots of oxygen and creates the perfect environment for root rot to set in. If you notice yellowing lower leaves alongside soil that never seems to dry out, or a mushy black smell coming from the base of the plant, you are looking at classic overwatering symptoms, and the fix is to let the soil dry out significantly more between waterings and check that your pot actually has drainage holes in the first place. A well-draining potting mix, ideally one blended with perlite or orchid bark for extra airflow around the roots, makes this entire process far more forgiving. On the flip side, underwatering shows up differently, usually as leaves that curl inward, droop dramatically, or feel thin and slightly crisp at the edges, and the soil pulling away from the sides of the pot is another telltale sign the roots have gone thirsty for too long. Room temperature water is best, since cold water straight from the tap can shock tropical roots, and if your tap water is heavily chlorinated or very hard, letting a watering can sit out, uncovered overnight. allows some of that chlorine to dissipate before it reaches the roots. Repotting is another piece of the root health puzzle that beginners often overlook, until roots are visibly circling the drainage holes or pushing the plant up out of its pot. As a general rule, a healthy, actively growing philodendron appreciates a fresh pot and new soil roughly every 1 to 2 years, sized up only slightly, about 2 inches larger in diameter than the current container. Since an oversized pot holds excess moisture the roots cannot use quickly enough and raises the risk of rot. Spring is the ideal season for this job, giving the plant a full growing season to settle into its new space before the slower winter months arrive. Once your watering rhythm feels steady, fertilizing is what takes your philodendron from simply surviving to genuinely thriving with big, glossy, rapidly unfurling new leaves. During the active growing months of spring and summer, feed your plant every 4 to 6 weeks with a balanced, water-soluble houseplant fertilizer. Something with roughly equal parts nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, diluted to about half the strength recommended on the label. Philodendrons are not heavy feeders, and it is far easier to under-fertilize than to burn the roots with too much, so, when in doubt, dilute further. During fall and winter when growth naturally slows down with shorter daylight hours, cut back to feeding once every couple of months, or pause altogether, since the plant simply is not using those nutrients as quickly. Pruning plays a surprisingly important role in this lush growth story as well. Trimming back leggy vines just above a leaf node encourages the plant to branch out and grow fuller, rather than continuing to stretch out as one long, single stem. Do not be afraid to snip off any yellowed, damaged, or dying leaves too, since removing them redirects the plant's energy toward healthy new growth, instead of trying to repair what cannot be saved. Those trimmed vine cuttings are not waste either. Philodendron cuttings root remarkably easily in a simple glass of water placed in bright indirect light. And within a few weeks you will see small white roots emerging from the nodes, giving you an entirely new plant for free or a thoughtful gift for a friend. Even with great care, you are likely to run into a few common hiccups along the way, and knowing how to read them takes all the mystery out of plant parenthood. Yellow leaves toward the bottom of the plant, especially when several appear at once, usually point to overwatering, so check your soil moisture and drainage first. Brown, crispy leaf edges or tips typically signal low humidity or a buildup of mineral salts from tap water, and switching to filtered or distilled water, while boosting humidity nearby, often resolves it within a few weeks. Small, pale new leaves, or unusually long gaps between leaves along the stem almost always mean the plant wants more light. If you spot fine webbing between leaves or tiny stippled discoloration on the foliage, you are likely dealing with spider mites, which thrive in dry indoor air and can be managed by wiping down leaves with a damp cloth and increasing humidity, or treating with insecticidal soap. For a more established infestation, mealybugs, which look like small tufts of white cotton nestled in leaf joints, respond well to being dabbed directly with a cotton swab dipped in rubbing alcohol. And if your plant seems to be growing painfully slowly, or the leaves stay small no matter what you do, it is often simply time to repot into a slightly larger container with fresh soil. Since a root-bound plant in an old, depleted potting mix has run out of room and nutrients to keep expanding. What makes philodendrons such a wonderful starting point for anyone new to indoor gardening is exactly this forgiving nature. They communicate clearly through their leaves, they bounce back quickly once a mistake is corrected, and they reward consistent, thoughtful care with genuinely fast, satisfying growth you can watch unfold week to week. Get the light right. Water based on what the soil is actually telling you, rather than a fixed schedule. Feed lightly during the growing season, and prune with confidence, and you will find yourself with a thriving, jungle-worthy plant that also happens to be quietly supporting your own well-being every single day it sits in your home. If you love learning about seasonal flowering plants, vegetables, gardening tips, and nature care, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Nature Nurture Hub, your home for year-round garden inspiration. Let's keep growing together.